what's going on? Got the boat painted, and the next step is going to be laying the Hydroturf. I already have it. Actually, I've had it for a couple weeks, and I went with something a little bit different this time. It's a different design, and this is that cheap crap from Amazon. You know, I've seen a lot of people question it, but you know how some people's opinions can be. A lot of people can just badmouth something because it's cheap, or, you know. I try to not discredit something until I've used it myself, or it's a very credible person, you know, somebody I actually know that tried something and said it's worthless. And that has not happened yet, so, you know, why not? Nothing else. If it works, the readily available source. They have a lot on there. The only downfall to what's available on Amazon is most of it is smaller sheets. The stuff I got is 47 1/4 by 95 1/2, so just shy of 4 by 8. And I got 2 sheets of it, and it's going to be plenty to do this boat. Unfortunately, I had to get 2 sheets to make it work. I'm going to have a lot of scrap left over, so if anybody's doing this color, I can hook you up with some stuff. Unless I mess up, then I might not have any left. It's always good to have extra. Okay, so I have the template that I used to cut out the deck I made. So I don't need it, but what I will need is a template for the very front and the seat. I have the template for the floor still, which I can use, and then I'm going to do Hydroturf on the rear seat, which, since it's open like that, I should be able to just cut a piece a little big, mark it, lay it on there, and it'll be easy to trim and cut. But the front 2 pieces, I'm going to go ahead and make a template. If you don't have any boxes, you can just go to Walmart and get poster board, and it works fine for this. But if you have just some boxes laying around, that works too, and that's what I'm using today. Get you a box, a piece of cardboard, and cut it a little bit bigger than what you're actually going to need. And what I find easiest to do is go ahead and cut it in 2 pieces. Like, I've already got my angle on this side. As you can see, it's big. And I already laid it up there, and it's fine. So what I'm going to do now is cut this piece in half. Alright, so now I'm going to get my angle for this side. Alright, so you want to lay your cardboard up here kind of square, and you want plenty of overhang. Kind of line it up at the front of the boat. Make sure you got plenty of room, and take a marker and just run it with the outside edge of this boat, because the outside is the same curve as the inside. So now what we're going to do is cut this out. Alright, so now what we should be able to do is lay this one in there where it goes. Check to make sure all the measurements are okay. The angle is good. It looks like this one actually needs a little trimming on it. Ladybug attacking me. Trim that up real quick. Once you get both of your pieces where you want them to be, go ahead and tape them together. I suggest using something like duct tape, something that's really sticky and not going to come off easily, because you don't want your template moving around. Alright, double check. Alright, that still looks good. Now, we want to run this piece just shy of this hinge. So, we'll go ahead and make a couple marks on it. Now we can get a straight edge. Go ahead and connect our line. Now we can cut that out. I use a razor knife to cut that. Throw it up there, see what we got. Now that looks good. That's going to work for our front template. Like I said, we already have this one. And all we have left is the middle seat. I might be able to get away without making a template for the middle seat. We'll just have to see. But I want to start out with this one. I want to find center of that sheet of Hydroturf. I keep saying Hydroturf. Hydroturf's actually a brand. I know somebody out there is just dying to jump in the comments and tell me I'm wrong about that. So for all intents and purposes, I'm going to call it Hydroturf. Whether it's Seadek, whatever the crap this is, it's foam flooring for a boat, okay? I'm going to call it Hydroturf no matter what brand it is. Anyways, my fine center of that, this one actually has lines in it, so I need all this to line up perfectly. So that's what I'm worried about. That's why I wanted to make a template versus just, you know, trying to wing it. So, got this one done. We can go ahead and start cutting it out. Here is the Hydroturf that I got. It is a, I can't remember if it was called light gray or dark gray. It looks dark gray to me with black little seams or whatever. Make it look like teak wood or whatever. But as you can see, this stuff comes in a roll, like rolled tight in a box. I've found it better if you get it out and stretch it out like I have it here and put some weight on it to kind of make it a little more flat. It makes it a little bit easier to work with. That way every time you turn around, it's not trying to roll back up on you. You do that a couple days before you're ready to actually use it. It'll help a lot. I just did it this morning, so I'm probably going to have problems. But anyway, it's just a little idea for you. Alright, so I got my sheet flipped over, and what I did originally, I don't know if it's going to show up on the camera or not, but I found the center of the sheet from the back side and drew a line, but then I thought to flip it over, this thing isn't exactly the same. Like this little strip right here is shorter on this end than it is on this end. So if I use true center, it's not going to be exactly the same on each side of the boat, if you follow what I'm talking about. So what I ended up doing was finding the actual middle strip and pulled a measurement to the center of it, and then did me another line, and that's going to be the mark that I go from. That's just going to keep everything more symmetrical looking in my boat. So the strips should be the same on the right hand side as the left hand side, theoretically. I'm hoping. But anyways, that's so this line right here is my actual center, but I'm not going to use it. I'm going to use this line right here, which is the center of the center strip, if that makes any sense. I went over this before. This stuff right here, this paper, is super waxy, so you can't use a marker on it. Marker, it beads up. So what I've found best to use is just a colored pencil. So steal a colored pencil from your kids. And I found center of my template. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up this whole edge with the front edge of the turf, and then put it on the center line, and then mark this out. Okay. Alright, that's kind of faint, but I can see it good. It probably won't show up on camera. Alright, I'm going to cut this stuff out with just a razor knife. Stuff cuts real easy. You could use scissors if you wanted to. But I'm going to use this. And I'm going to use the aid of a straight edge. Alright, there we go. See if you can see what I'm talking about. It's basically this little triangle right here matches this little triangle right here. And if I went off of a true center of this stuff, one of these triangles would be a lot smaller. That's kind of being nitpicky, but with how I'm doing this boat, it really doesn't matter. But to be able to show you guys how to think ahead and do it right, you know, somebody out there might be looking on how to build a really nice boat, so pay attention to stuff like that. If you have something like this, like I said, if I would have went off true center, it would have been wonky on one end. It wouldn't match. All right, this piece is ready to be installed. Let's do it. What I've done on my last 2 boats that I put Hydroturf in is just wipe it down with acetone, and I haven't had any problems with anything coming up. So that's what I'm gonna do with this one too. Now let's test fit our piece before we peel the back off, make sure everything is good. Alright, that looks pretty good to me. So let's go ahead and try to stick this thing on there. One thing I found with this stuff, you can lay it on there, and as long as you don't apply pressure to it, you can get it back up. But once you actually put pressure on this stuff, good luck trying to get it off. That stuff matches the color I painted the inside of the boat with real good. Alright, there is the front piece. Let's do the rest. One tip on cutting this stuff, I don't know if it's going to show up or not, but when you mark it out with your template, always leave your line. I actually left maybe 3/16 to 1/4 of an inch to the outside of the line. One thing, you know, the sides of your boat flare out, so this will be a little bit wider than the actual floor of the boat. You can always go back and trim it off if you have to, but you can't really add any without it looking like crap. So try to at least leave your lines, if not a little more than that. Alright, stick a fork in this project. It's definitely harder to do this type of decking, Hydroturf, whatever you want to call it, versus the camouflage one, because everything has to line up or it's going to look stupid as crap. And if you mess up a little bit, at least with the camouflage stuff, you mess up somewhere, like cut it a little too short, you can stuff some pieces in there and it's not very noticeable. Well, with this stuff, the way it is, it's gray on top, but right up underneath the gray is black. It shows up like a sore thumb. So keep that in mind. If you get some like this, any of the strips, you know, solid colors, gray, some of it looks like wood, take your time. Take extra time, measure big and cut big, and then trim to fit if you have to, because it's definitely a little bit harder to do than the camouflage. And this is my 3rd boat I've done this Hydroturf on, and this has been the hardest one. Like I said, you know, cutting it out and all that is basically the same, but making it look good was harder. If this wasn't just to throw in the back of my truck boat, I would probably redo a couple pieces. I actually have enough left, and if it bothers me that bad, I might go ahead and redo it, but you can't really tell. I mean, unless I really pointed it out at you, you'd never know. I'm not going to stress out over it, or try not to stress out over it. But anyway, I mean, it looks good. I'll give it that. The color matches really well. with the gray that I painted the boat on the inside, and I'm happy with that. And I'm happy with the overall look. That's what I was going for, and it looks good. We'll have to see about the durability. You know, that's what everybody is saying, is the Amazon stuff isn't as good. And I could tell it is not as sticky as the other two pieces. The one I did on my big boat was actually 3M backing. It had 3M on the sheet. The one I did on the black boat, the bow fishing boat, I got it off eBay from a different company. It was a different size, and it was super sticky. It had the white backing, and it wasn't 3M, but like I said, that stuff was super, super tacky. More tacky than this. This stuff I was able to kind of peel it up a little bit easier, and a couple spots where I actually applied pressure, I was able to peel it up, and I noticed some of the adhesive came off on the floor or seats or wherever I was messing with it. So we'll have to see. Now, as far as looks, it looks good to me. So, all right, that is done. Appreciate you guys watching. See you on the next one.